Bam! There we go.
That's it. It's fight week. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Here we are in Plymouth
I
at
gotta,
Main
I gotta
Street
cover that
Sports
chest
Bar.
there. I gotta cover the chest there. Sorry, no one came on to watch that from right out the gate.
Getting old, boss. Getting old.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yes, it's fight week. We're in Plymouth at Main Street Sports Bar and Grill, right down the road from Plymouth Memorial Hall, where we've got 16 fights of pure action-packed mixed martial arts going to be taking place this Saturday night, Halloween weekend, costume contest. There's going to be blood all over the place. We've got a ton of professional slugfest, amateur debuts, the whole 9 yards of Cage Titans 56. And yeah, this is it. Final. We're going to break down every single fight, bottom to top of this fight card. It's going to be an electrifying week, and I'm ready, man. I'm in town, driving by Memorial Hall, seeing the posters out there. It's just something in the air on fight week.
Yeah, man, it's funny. I was downtown. Obviously, for those I know, I live in Plymouth, but I was downtown. I wish I could send the picture, but I actually drove by Memorial Hall this Saturday night, and somebody punched a hole through the mouth of Cam Arnold. So Plymouth is rip-roaring, ready to go. They're excited for some fights. We're excited for some fights. We're here at Main Street. We got the Patriots tonight, so we're going to do our best to kind of go quick because Main Street will be filling up later on for the Patriots. They got karaoke going downstairs. I think they have a neat DJ coming on at 9. So we're going to try to do a quick show, get through all 14 fights plus the one super fight. So we got 15 things lined up for it.
I got to go sing some karaoke, it looks like. Oh, geez.
Yeah, karaoke tonight.
Exactly. Karaoke tonight, comedy on Thursday night. There's a comedy show taking place here on Thursday night. This place is going to be packed if you didn't get your tickets already, because there's no tickets available. You got to show up at the door at this very place to come see some of the best comedians. Mr. Kuze, who killed it at Coops the last time. He's one of the funniest guys in the Northeast. Yeah.
Oh, so I got to, you know me. So this comedy show has nothing to do with me, but I'm putting him on the spot right now. I'm going to take over the show. You can't say no because I'm asking in front of camera. Johnny Cupcakes wants a 3-minute set on the comedy show
This Thursday.
He wants to, like he said, fit him in 3 minutes, 5 minutes, no more. He wants a part on the show.
3 minutes set.
3 minutes to 5. He goes, he wants it. I said, listen, you've done a lot for Cage Titans. It's not my show, but I'll throw a good word in for you, wink, wink. And I bet Andy might be able to fit in on set maybe.
I can almost definitely say maybe. I think
right.
we'll be able to
We'll give you a
squeeze him in
definite
on
maybe.
Thursday there
So
for sure.
come on down. Not only are you going to
wouldn't
see
be
Andy, you're going to tell Johnny Cupcakes no.
I wouldn't be opposed.
So Johnny,
Minutes if you want to.
so Johnny, for those,
Really put me on.
I know he's been working at Coops, and today before he left, he was like, "Hey, you know how I told you about the comedy show?" And because he came to your last one,
Yep.
and he was like, "How good of a time he came?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm definitely coming. I'm definitely coming." He's like, "You know, I was kind of thinking, like, you know how you said it jokingly last time if I wanted to do a set?" He's like, "Do you think Andy would let me?" I said, "I think he's got a lineup, but I can probably pull some strings for a guy like Johnny to get him 3 minutes on the mic."
We could make something happen. I'm not.
His
so
Cupcakes
opposed to
worthy.
doing
I
it.
mean, and then I said, "Give me
He's a
some of your
funny
stuff," and he goes, "I'm not giving you my stuff until I get my notebook and get my notes." So I was like, "All right, I'll put Andy on the spot tonight and try to see if I get you a 3-minute spot on there."
Yeah, maybe debut. I debuted on a show instead of an open mic, but yeah, I wouldn't.
Well, I told him, I said, "I go to an open mic tonight," and he said he didn't have his notebook on him, but he'll be here. Anyways, we can talk. So come on by. You're going to see Andy on Thursday night. So that's going to kick off our fight week festivities. We have,
And honestly, I want to start doing this for every single fight week.
yeah,
Main
we got the
Street,
comedy
get
show.
going on.
We're not doing a press conference this event. So we don't have the press conference on Thursday. We're going to be doing the comedy show Thursday night with Andy's comedy production, Cursive Comedy,
Cursive, talking in cursive.
talking in cursive.
Oh, cursive comedy. Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
That's what we do.
So,
We talk in cursive.
so Thursday night will be the comedy show. Friday night weigh-ins. Friday day weigh-ins, I should say. Saturday, the fights. So Saturday, the whole day is planned out. Saturday, before the event, go to Second Wind Brewery and see Rob Pico. And Rob Pico is doing a special ticket giveaway at the pre-party. Then the fights start. Doors are opening 4:30, 5 o'clock, depending on the crowd because we want to get you in. Then the fights start at 6. And afterwards, we're going to be going over to Tavern on the Wharf for the official after party. They have a costume contest going on with prizes all night until midnight. And they also have a live band. So they're going to be live music as well. So there you go. That's Fight Week Rundown. And without further ado, let's get into the fights. Our first matchup of the evening will be a grappling super fight between Sandy Munoz out of Triforce taking on Jose Costa out of Loco Lobo. I thought this was, a lot of guys have been asking about the grappling. I've already said that 2023 will be the return of the Cage Titans grappling events. And so what we're going to do is in 2023, we're going to be doing those again. And
but for now, we're still just going to be sprinkling them into the shows. We've done this before. We've started off the show with the grappling super fight, kind of easing the crowd into to martial arts before the punches get thrown. And there've been some exciting matchups. And I don't care what anybody says when people want slugfest. There's going to be plenty of slugfest, but grappling is a big-time part of mixed martial arts, and I like seeing these grappling super fights. They've been very competitive, different styles of jiu-jitsu, different kinds of attacks, and getting to see that as a whole martial art and in the Coliseum
this
setting
is also
of
good, is that, like, these grapplers now have a stage to perform at in front of these crowds so they can get the jitters out. And then eventually, some of these guys have expressed interest that this is the beginning. They want to get in there and grapple and compete, see what it's like in front of the crowd, and then eventually take a fight later on. So we got two guys hungry, ready to go in the lightweight division, and they're going to be kicking things off. What else we got going on?
Well, that's just the first.
That's our first matchup. That's kicking things off at 6 o'clock. And great question in the comments. Throw your comments in there. What's been everybody's favorite grappling super fight? We've had some amazing ones. That grappling quartet that we did.
Oh, that was
cool.
I can't wait to
Do
do
that
something
again.
together like that again. That was tremendous. The grappling team versus grappling team to set up, but for now, just
I'll
the
throw it in
one.
the comments. I was looking for a grappler to face Battles because Battles wasn't available to fight this event, and he asked if I could get him a grappling match. But obviously, it wasn't easy getting him one, so we didn't have anybody. But if there are heavyweights that are out there that would like to do that, we'd be sure to throw that together and put it on. But either way, here we go. Let's get to our first fight.
First fight with the gloves on, and this is one of a few of these fights that are taking place. A debut versus a debut. We don't know what we're expecting in either of these guys, only that they both come from camps that produce warriors. Craig Marston. Sorry, there's a crack on my screen, so I was like...
Time for a new one.
Yeah, definitely.
Craig Marston out of No
Craig
Stos.
Marston and Steve Hill are going to be squaring off, making their debut against each other. Marston out of No Stos, Steve Hill out of US MMA. And we know that these schools have produced some of the more action-packed fighters that nobody can deny will relieve the seats and the butts from each other, and everybody's going to be standing and losing their shit. And these debut fighters taking on each other, they've produced some of the more electrifying moments that we've seen in the cage.
Yeah, absolutely. And Marston, we did a post about him yesterday. He's a police officer. He's a member of the Coast Guard. So he's bringing it. And you look at Steve Hill, DSMMA. Later on in the night, we got Barrett fighting. A little bit later on, we got Will Doolin fighting. Shane Darty's out of that school. There's so many killers out of that school. He's just a new guy to break through from that team. So we look forward to having those guys. All right, what else we got?
Moving on to the lightweight division, our first lightweight fight of the night. Another debuting fighter, Jim Carnes, representing Cupcakes MMA. Speaking of Cupcakes earlier, he's going to be taking on Greg Jonesy Skin and Bones Jones out of Loco Lobo MMA. We saw Greg Jones fight Alvin McLaren and win versus via first round TKO finish. Did he submit him? I don't even think I commentated that fight, but anyways, it was a dog fight regardless, and he was on the older end, on the wrong, the above side of 40. Decided he wanted to 49 years old as he made his MMA debut, and that wasn't enough. He still has aspirations to go in there and show more skills. So in steps Jim Carnes out of Cupcakes MMA, someone making his debut. From my understanding, he's been training a decent while now and wants to go test himself. And this fight was made between the coaches, Johnny Cupcakes and Loco Lobo, and both of these guys are going to be squaring off in the second fight of the night on Saturday.
Yeah, and what's cool about this? This is actually Johnny's second. Coach Cupcakes. We were going over it earlier today. He said this is actually his second fight he's cornered, and he's 1-0 so far. But this is actually the debut of Cupcakes MMA, an exclusive Cupcakes MMA fighter. So his other fighter that he cornered was out of another gym when he was training as a trainer at USC gym.
Yes.
This is his first foray into his own Cupcakes MMA with his own students. So he's excited about that, and it just goes full circle. Johnny Cupcakes made his debut with Cage Titans 1. It's been around forever, and now we get to see him come full circle and start bringing his next line of warriors, as he transitions to a coach. Very much like Khabib, who his students are winning like crazy.
Titles, man. Yeah, no kidding.
So there we go.
Carnes versus Jones, second MMA fight of the night, and then our next fight, another debut versus debut, but not quite. There's a little asterisk next to this debut here. We got Tim Melvin at a Broadway, taking on Will the Drill Doolin at a US MMA, and Will Doolin is going to be making his MMA debut, but we saw
he made his
fight
Muay Thai debut
Muay
last
Thai,
night.
yeah, again.
James
Tomahawk Thomas. Yeah. So he made his MMA Muay Thai debut. Looked substantial with the hands, pleasing together decent combinations, and now he's taking off the 10-ounce gloves, putting on the 7-ounce gloves, and adding the grappling action to the forte skills that he's showing.
Will the Drill, I think they call him.
Yep.
So, from what I'm hearing is this guy's the next coming. So I'm excited to see this fight. Mayday Melvin coming out of Broadway. This kid's been super jacked up. He's been in my inbox, hitting me up nonstop about this fight. He's really excited. He's out of Broadway. Broadway is bringing 3 fighters to this gym. They actually to this fight. They actually had 4 originally. One fight fell off. Footnote: anybody out there 140 to 150 was looking for an amateur fight? We're looking for one. So let me know. But anyways, they were bringing 4 guys into this. Tateki Matsuda trains there. Kyle Botniak trains there. When they come to a show, they don't fight often, but when they do, they bring 2, 3, 4 guys, and they make it a whole team thing where they're all training for the same goal. We saw them back at Cage Titans 50. That was the last time they competed, and they brought Ashworth Rao, Tyler Wolf competed on that card. Danny Jefferson competed on that card. I believe they went 2-1 that night. So here we are, 3 more guys coming out, and they're looking to make their mark. And I like it because they're not a school that jumps off the page. They're not on every card. Since they're more selective when they compete, they're coming prepared because they're not just throwing their names on every card. Not that the guys who fight on every card aren't prepared, but it's just one of those schools that you might not know, like a Lozon, USMA, Citadel, South Shores, Sid Yatong, things like that. Like they're not known for their fighters, but when they do bring fighters, they're very well diverse and great athletes.
And they're training together as a team, bringing a plethora of guys in, so they're all gearing up, getting ready, preparing for this fight and fight camp together. So expect big things out of Tim Melvin here.
Shout out to Steve Reeder. I see him in the comments. I believe Steve Reeder's birthday was yesterday or today, so I could be mistaken. He threw him up in there. And so, yeah, shout out to Steve Reeder, who is Steve Reeder's birthday, either yesterday or today. I'm not sure. I know Steve Reeder will be at the fight, so he is one of the officials for the fight. So maybe at the after party, buy him a drink. It is today. So happy birthday, Steve. We'll have a drink to you on your birthday. Cheers. On Friday after the event, if you see him at the after party, make sure you buy him a drink.
Always cool.
Brian Ferguson, no sauce first. Everyone, Mike.
Speaking of Brian Ferguson, we're talking about him next because he's making his MMA debut. He made his
Muay Thai debut
last show, and now he's transitioning. We had him on Table Titans last week talking about his weight loss journey, his battle with addiction, and how he's turned that around and putting that focus into the MMA cage. Coming to us out of Nostos, and he's going to be taking on our independent fighter Timmy Walsh. I don't know much about him.
So
I've seen him blowing up the Cage Titans.
Oh yeah,
really excited to fight. So I know that he is.
So Tim's fought in Vermont, and he was so anxious to fight. He took a fight at 195. He came up short. Now he's back at his normal weight class. And though he's listed as independent, don't let that fool you. He trains at a couple different schools, because he's not specifically out of one, he didn't feel it was appropriate to identify as one school. He trains out of BTT Danvers. That would probably be like maybe his one school if we did call him one school. But he said he just prefer, because he did everything on his own and all that stuff, to just be listed as as independent. But don't let that fool you. These aren't the days of the basketball short wearing independent guys. He does train, and he's bringing, and he's stoked. He's just so excited to get this opportunity. He was like, he took the fight. He had my medicals in my hand the very next day. He had all his corner applications. This kid's ready to go, and we got a fun one at 170 for these 2 guys.
For sure, and Ferguson proved that he is a dog in his last fight.
He went up, and speaking of going up a weight class, he went up to 185 just to take that fight, because he was so excited to be able to compete. He was so anxious to compete.
It's good to see him in his natural weight.
These guys are kind of both in the same scenario. So let's see what happens on Fight Night.
Love it. Moving on, we got the Patriots starting right about now.
I know, we doing like that illegal thing where like, you can pretend you're watching something else, but you have like, have you seen that? Some guy streamed an entire UFC pay-per-view and he just sat in the corner with a controller, pretending he was playing a video game, and he streamed it illegally.
Yeah. I've seen that.
That's what we're doing right now. So you don't have to.
But no, we're not streaming it illegally. It's just
it happens to be above our heads.
So just go tune into Hulu or whatever the Monday Night Football station is on now. Or CBS, I don't even know. No one's punching anybody in the face.
I think this is Monday Night Football on ESPN.
Well, that's the Manning brothers right there. You got Peyton and that's actually some funny shit. I actually watched the football game with them watching that. But
moving on.
What are we talking about?
As long as you stay where you're at, you can't see the fight. So, yeah.
Fights, no, it's football. But anyways, moving on. Let me get the fight card up. Memory's not as good as it used to be. I can't remember it all off the top of my head anymore. But both guys in this next fight are looking for their first victory. Both guys have fought before.
I'm stoked about this. This is going to be
talking
about
one
of those circle like, ooh, this could be something.
Talk about Broadway, Team Broadway. We got Tyler Wolf making his return after the Cage Titans 50 daytime card. He fought Sergey Pursunko in that on that day. And what we know about Pursunko is he's making his run for the title. I'm sure that has motivated Tyler Wolf right now to get back in, knowing how competitive of a fight that was. And he's going to be taking on the 0-2 Bobby Baker at a Bishop Boxing, also looking for his first win. And I'm not saying that Bobby, he hasn't fought on Cage.
He's fought in like 5-6 years. So yeah, it's been a while for him. He's been competing in smokers and doing some other boxing stuff. The fun thing about this is like when we always talk about you never know what you're going to get in debuts. We had Tyler Wolf debut against Sergey Pursunko. We never knew that Sergey was going to be who he is in Sergey Pursunko, undefeated, just running through everybody. So, like, yes, he beat Tyler, but does that tell you anything about Tyler or just, like, how good Sergey is? Tyler could be a beast in his own right, and you just happen to run into him in his debut. So I'm very intrigued to see what Tyler Wolf brings to the cage this time. As for Bobby Baker hasn't competed in 6 years. Bobby Baker made his debut at Cage Titans in 2017, I believe, as a junior in high school, as an 18-year-old junior in high school. And can you imagine how much you've grown up in 6 years from when you were a junior in high school to who you are as a 23-year-old man, 24-year-old man? I think we're going to see a lot of maturity, a lot of progression, expansion of his skills. He's been doing really well in the boxing and kickboxing world, and I think he's really going to tie it together. And you talk about the 0-0s, and you never know what you're going to get. You want to know who he debuted against when he was in high school that day as an 18-year-old kid? John Duma. His debut was against John Duma, who's now currently an 8-2
so that must have been
professional.
That must have been in 2015.
2015, so 7 years ago. Sorry. So he made his debut and he came up short against John Duma, who's gone on 8-2 professional, who's just a beast. So these two guys, this is going to be their coming out party, and you guys are on for a treat. Another fun fact, Bobby Baker as a junior in high school, there was a cute picture that we posted the other day. The night of his fight, there's a picture of him and his girlfriend at the time overlooking the cage with the cage in the background. Fast forward 7 years, they just got married this year. So they got married this year, and here he is returning to the cage. So he might have lost his debut that night, but he got the girl. They're married, and here he is returning after 7 years off.
Look at that full circle taking on Tyler Wolf. That's an exciting banger of a fight right there.
Yes, I'm drinking energy drinks. It's only my third one today.
Only that's oh my god. The night
I had a
is
Monster,
young.
I had a Ghost, and now I'm drinking sugar-free Red Bull.
The week is young.
I was at the commission all day today.
Yes, I know.
And we won't get into that.
Not this time. Not this time.
Friday night picks, Lacey versus T. Sabatino. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but yes, that's going to be a great one.
Oh, yeah, that's one hell of a main event, but we got to get through the rest of these prelims first. There's only a few left because we got two more debuting fighters making their debut against each other. Zach Thompson out of Ascension Athletics taking on Eric Reyes out of Connors MMA. Both guys, fresh goose eggs, coming out of teams that we haven't seen putting fighters up for a little bit of Ascension.
Ascension, they have, Jeff Haddad has been running his school down there, you know, and they've been competing, but not with Cage Titans. They're deep down in it.
That's what I meant. We haven't seen anybody coming up from there at Cage Titans for a little bit. And Connors MMA. I can't remember the last time we've seen someone out of Connors MMA performing in
There we go.
performing in Plymouth. So both of these teams making a return to Plymouth, if you will, and putting some debuting fighters in there. So we know what to expect. As we've already mentioned it tonight. Like we said, we got a bunch of debut versus debut fights happening. More incentive to get there early and catch all the action before these guys make a name for themselves.
Yeah, man. And do yourself a favor. I mean, I'm going to look it up quick if I can get to it. But I talked about this fight. Eric Reyes' name got put in with us. There was a guy wrestled in high school and this, that, and the other thing. And I sent it off to Jeff Haddad to match up his guy. And he was like, he wrestled in high school? That's a little short. This kid was like a 4-time state champ, 3-time All-American, something crazy credentialed like that. And he's like, that's not just wrestled in high school. That's like, he was elite. And then next sentence goes, but I think I got somebody for him. And Zach Thomas is a college wrestler, just as, has just as many accolades and experience in the wrestling realm. So these are like, these aren't your typical, like Bo Nickel wasn't like a typical debut. And I'm not saying either one of these guys are Bo Nickels, but I'm just saying like they were 4-time state champ, 3-time All-American in high school. Like they're coming with some good accolades. And this should be, they were high level wrestlers, and we'll see how we might have an amazing wrestling match. Or we could have an ugly striking battle.
Well, sometimes that happens. Two wrestlers are facing off against each other. They'll nullify those skills and they'll turn into a striking slugfest. So never know what you're going to get with these debuting fighters, but we got some of their grappling accolades ahead of us on paper. So kind of have an idea what to look forward to. But only one way to tell. Tune in on Saturday.
Close that cage door. Hold on. I'm about to get to it. My guy's a good college wrestler, so it should be pretty equal in that department. He goes, Eric Reyes. Not only did he wrestle in high school, he was an All-American, 4-time state champ, 2-time New England champ. But then he wrote back. But my guy is a college wrestler, so we're pretty equal in that department. So yeah, this should be one of those good fights. 2 high-level competitors, and we'll see how that translates to the MMA.
Love it. And then
see William Lagasse watching. I heard that you're going to be making your Cage Titans debut in January. We look forward to hearing you and seeing you.
Only a couple fights left on this undercard. We've got one that should be circled on everybody's fight card if you're a fight fan at all. We've got Danny Jefferson out of Broadway making his return back from Cage Titans 50. Like everybody on the card is making their return from Cage Titans 50. And then Phil Bambino Lucino is going to be standing across the cage from him. This is a fight I've been truly excited for since it came to fruition. I've been a big fan of Phil Bambino Lucino throughout his entire fight career. Very hungry competitor, all about the life. And then Danny Jefferson, another hungry competitor, has taken a year off and to take care of some life gets in the way. So he's been taking care of business outside of the fight realm, but staying ready, staying in training, pulling somebody who's drawn a name that's been in there a few times since they both made their debut last November. And yeah, this is going to be a highly competitive fight that's going to be tit for tat anywhere the fight goes. I think both of these guys are really going to bring out the best in each other, standing up on the ground, and I'm stoked to call this war.
These guys are super well-rounded. Lucino, he's infamous for sending random videos on random days about how he's cannot wait to compete for us and how much he loves being a part of the Cage Titans
on top of some
family
building in Boston.
Yeah, he sent me something the other day of him like on a treadmill, and he just like sends me the craziest videos, just telling me how excited he is to compete and how much he loves being a part of the Cage Titans community. And he said he's bringing the best Bambino. I think he called it a Bambino. Be in store for another Bambino banger. So yeah, man, he's ready. And Danny Jefferson, he doesn't talk much. I don't even think he has Facebook. But those guys at Broadway, they're not much talkers. They kind of just show up and do their job. John Clark definitely will have them ready. And this fight is definitely our co-main event of the undercard, and rightly so.
And our main event of the undercard, another one that we've been stoked for. We had both of these ladies on last week. Ashley Smashy Barrett taking on Megan Roscoe for the inaugural Women's Muay Thai Amateur title. What else needs to be said? Megan Roscoe 2-0
We had them both on last week.
We had them both on last week. She has competed in Muay Thai throughout. She's been training at Citadel after moving back from the West Coast, and the opportunity came up to fight Ashley Barrett with their Muay Thai background. Ashley, looking forward to taking on the next steps in her career at the MMA ranks, but she's not adverse to fighting Muay Thai. She has fought Muay Thai before. It's tough getting an opponent there, but anyways, it doesn't matter. She was able to find Megan Roscoe, throw the title on there. Both of these ladies are excited to make history at Cage Titans. I am stoked as well because the ladies always bring it. They're going to be closing out the undercard. Couldn't be happier.
Yeah, man. Ashley was made it known she wanted to compete in the MMA realm, and there just wasn't a lot of flyweights out there for her to compete against. There was some talk about a rematch against Erica Valentine.
Yep.
That's hopefully a fight we can maybe secure in the future because they both kind of agreed to it. But Erica already had a fight going on, and we already secured this. But, I mean, these are two undefeated girls. I didn't realize Ashley's actually 6-0 undefeated as an amateur Muay Thai fighter. 3-1 as a pro amateur in MMA. Ton of wealth of experience. And Megan's as well undefeated. They both talked about it. They both love to come forward. They both love to throw leather. And you guys, I mean, we haven't seen Megan, but just talking with her on the podcast last week, she's not backing down. And Ashley has that intimidating presence about her. And if you watch her fights, you're like, oh, shit. But Megan does not seem to care much. And she's coming. She's bringing it. And this fight's going to be a great way to end the undercard.
Closing out the show on the undercard level, taking an intermission before we go to the pros. What better way to do it?
Maybe the intermission will bring in all the costume contest winners into the cage.
That's exactly what's going to be happening. During the intermission, everybody who's got the best costumes throughout that the judges select are going to be coming in, and we'll get the crowd's reaction to who has the best costume in the intermission after we crown an inaugural female Muay Thai amateur champion in New England at Cage Titans 56. History will be made in the undercard before we get to the main card, where we've got some marquee pro debuts, and it's all headlined by one of the crazier headlining fights that I've seen in recent memory.
Yeah, man. So, kind of catching up. Will Asia, January. We'll definitely look to have you back. If anybody's ready to fight him, we'll get him in there. Susan Locino, Mrs. Locino, we're looking forward to having your son back.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, we got some good stuff going on. We're pumped up. What are you going to get, a beer? You want to wait to get the beer, or you want to get the beer and I'll keep going?
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good, because I guess who just tuned in as we're about to talk about opening up the main card here.
What do we got?
Hey, we got Valdina tuning into his fight. He's making his pro debut against Rob Fuller, Cornflakes Rob Fuller, at a Clinch Tribe, coming back from Colorado. No stranger to the Cage Titans cage. Cage Titans legend, I think, on some of his social media there. He's fought the who's who of New England prospects, says no to any comers, and he's coming in with the fire, as he always does, but he's kind of playing it quiet this time around, really just wants to let his performance do the talking, just like his Jacobo Pito performance, coming off of another win in the MMA, and wants to silence the crowd again, because Valdina is one of the hometown favorites, a decorated amateur career, fighting for a title, gaining a wealth of experience, and he is dying to make that pro debut. And like so many other people who have made their pro debut against Rob Fuller, they've all faced somebody who's going to bring it, someone who's going to aim to take your head off, and is going to be dangerous until you put him out of there. And
listen, man,
Rob Fuller is coming in motivated to get another win under his belt in Plymouth, reaffirm to everyone in the building that he is just as dangerous, and you shouldn't take his record lightly, as a few have done before and paid the price for it. But
Fuller is no stranger to what he's coming into. He's coming in to take on the hometown guy.
Yep.
In what's supposed to be he's supposed to be a footnote on their storybook. That this guy is making the move to the pros, and Fuller's the footnote, and he's just the opponent standing across the cage. But he's been there so many times. Jacobo Pito, Dan Shapiro. He had another one. The name escapes me in bare knuckle boxing. If you take him lightly and you don't take him serious, he will shut your lights out. Valdina, though, you know that this kid comes prepared every time. He's taken some extremely tough fights as an amateur. even to tell Fuller's mentality, like we even talked, hey, do you want to catch weight or anything like that? And he was just like, nope, I'm coming at 35 because I want to be at my best for this opportunity. I'm excited to be back at Plymouth. I'm excited to be back at Memorial Hall because he hasn't competed for us in a little while. So he's excited to come back here. I spoke with him earlier. He's ready to go. He flies in on Wednesday. He's bringing his son and his wife, his whole family coming to support him. So let's go. We're ready. And this is a great way to kick off that card. And it's going to be an amazing match. You know that the Valdina fans are going to be going crazy. The Valdina chants will be echoing through the hall. And
hey, maybe there might even be some Fuller chants. He's got some fans around here too.
Shout out to and Valdina. He said he's ready for him. He keeps coming up as Facebook user. He must be blocked or something. But I see on the comments here, but on there, either way, Valdina said he's ready, and we know Valdina's ready. There's never a fight that Valdina doesn't come prepared for. And man, this is, I'm telling you, I'm excited for all the damn fights. But I'm excited to see Rob back because we haven't seen Rob for a little while. And, he's traveled and fought for a couple other promotions. And he hasn't had some great experiences. And we at Memorial Hall and the Cage Titans fans always treat him like family. Win or lose, one guy's going to win, one guy's going to lose. It's about the experience you have. And, we always treat him well, and it's going to be a great time on this Saturday night. So Valdina versus Fuller, kicking it off. What better way to kick off the Cage Titans 56 main card than those two?
No better way to kick it off. Couldn't agree more.
Sorry, Lawrence Hackett. Cupcakes is not fighting on this card. He said he'd have to miss the Cater Allen. Don't worry, the Cater Allen card is later. By the time that main event card's on, we'll all be at Tavern on the Wharf at the after party. They'll have that on the fights. And if I didn't mention already, Tavern on the Wharf has live music, and they're going to have a costume contest with a bunch of prizes as well.
Oh, my God. Costume contests all over the place. Main Street's got a costume contest Saturday. Tavern on the Wharf's got a costume contest. We've got a costume contest.
You get a costume contest. You get a costume contest.
Everybody's getting costumed up. So, hey, 'tis the season. What can we do? Keeping
with pro debuts.
Keeping with pro debuts and people whose records you shouldn't take lightly. Paul Teague, 1-5 out of No Mercy MMA out of South Carolina, making the trip up to take on the debuting professional fighter Jack Congdon, former amateur champ, undefeated as an amateur.
Jack, don't call me gentleman.
Nope, not ever again.
Congdon.
Never listening to Connor Matthews again. But Jack Congdon.
I posted Jack's video the other day of your last announcement of him.
Yeah.
And he actually shared the status. He's like, I am still not gentleman Jack, but come see me in my pro debut. He's not liking that nickname.
No, he really did not.
But I think at this point, he's also having some fun with it.
Of course. Yeah. But I'm excited to see this young man make his professional debut. It's been a pleasure to call his amateur career, seeing him steamroll a decision and steamroll through a whole division and then make the decision to jump up and go pro at this stage in his career. I think it's the right call for him, and I'm excited to see what kind of strides he's going to make as he can put forth more skills with the elbows, the knees, and whatnot. But Paul Teague is not one to be played around with. He is excited to make the trip up and steal the hype, play the silencer, and welcome Congdon to the professional ranks. So.
Teague is so funny. I talk to him almost every day. He hits me up. And actually, quickly, before I get to that story, Lawrence Hackett asked if Chris O'Brien is retired. I'll tell you this. Chris O'Brien I'll tell you this. He might not be retired from fighting, but he retired the beard this weekend because his costume has something to do with no beard. So if you go follow Chris O'Brien on Instagram, he is beardless for Halloween this year to go with his costume. So he has retired the beard. But anyways, Paul Teague, funny. He actually, if you've seen in the news, Dana White has a new slap league he got sanctioned through Nevada State Athletic Commission.
League.
Yeah, slap league. And Paul Teague actually got reached out to by the producers to compete in the slap league. So after his fight, he might be going to do the slap league stuff with Dana White.
Is that when you just like hold on to the thing, just take turns slapping each other?
I think you put your hand behind. I don't get it.
You're just literally slapping in the face.
Pretty much.
Hey,
so the same.
I love this country.
So Dana's like using the same producers who did some of his other, like I think the Ultimate Fighter or something. I don't know. Teague was in my inbox telling me all about it. Now, after this, he's going to use this platform to now kind of like jump into that slap league stuff. He's competed in bare knuckle boxing, MMA, Muay Thai. He does it all. And he's the first fighter that ever, when we asked him how he saw the fight going and his prediction, he predicted it a draw.
A draw.
I've never heard that.
Never.
I will probably never hear that again. I predict a draw.
Predicting a draw in your own fight, but hey, that's Paul Teague for you, and we're excited to see him make his Cage Titans debut.
And for those who wonder, we all have a couple screws loose if we're involved in fighting. So the answer to your question, is he okay? We all have a couple screws loose. Anyways, there we go. All right, next fight. Next up, we're going to talk about Patrick Gilbride taking on Chris Rooney, the Zappy Chan that started at Foxborough. So Pat Gilbride has not fought since Cage Titans 49. He's taken the last year off, and he's finally making his return to the cage. He's taking on Chris Rooney out of Vermont, a multiple-time amateur champion. He himself is on a 2-fight losing streak in the pro ranks. Gilbride is trying to right his ship off a 2-fight losing streak in the pro ranks. Something's got to give, and something's got to get an injection of like life into their fight career, and a win will do just that. And it's going to all be on the line for both these guys. Chris Rooney coming down from Vermont, Pat Gilbride, PJG, as they call him. It doesn't roll off the tongue, though. PJG, right, Patrick? Yeah, PJG.
I forget what his middle name is, but PJG.
Patrick Joseph. I'm going to go on a limb and say Patrick Joseph Gilbride.
Could be John.
Patrick John?
Could be. Who knows?
I think Patrick Joseph. Patrick Joseph. Somebody might help us out. But anyway.
Stoked for that fight anyways. Gilbride making his return. Excited to see him just make the return in general, having an extended amateur career, fighting for the amateur title, and his entire pro career here. You know, he's a dynamic finisher with a well-rounded game, and took some steps up in competition later in his career on a 2-fight skid, but he's going to be jumping in against Rooney, who had a decorated amateur career, fell short in his first 2 pro fights. He's looking to jump back into the win column and kickstart his pro career. Been on a little layoff there with some layoffs in between, and he's been battling his own issues and
injuries.
So he's dying to get back in and cause a firefight. A really powerful striker, likes to take chances in his fights, as does Gilbride. Expect these two to meet in the middle. And
I think I was a Rooney that said he's like kill or be killed. Like I'm coming in there.
That's the kind of fight style he brings.
You're finishing me. Like,
and honestly, that's kind of been Gilbride's forte as well. He's a kill or be killed attitude in there. One of the more intense featherweights that we've seen at the amateur or pro ranks. So excited to see him make his return, and excited for Rooney to make his Cage Titans debut as pro.
All right, cool. And then we got one more set of debuts. It's a double debut. We got Jorge Vega making his debut out of Matt Santos, and we taking on the former amateur Cage Titans heavyweight champion, undefeated Hassan Graham. Both these fighters were undefeated as amateurs. Hassan Graham has already turned pro in Muay Thai. He's undefeated 3-0 as a Muay Thai fighter, and now he's making the transition to MMA. Hassan Graham, as you remember, 4-0, undefeated Cage Titans amateur champion. These both guys hit like trucks. We posted a video earlier today of Vega's last knockout in his Muay Thai fight, and it's just like, even with 16-ounce gloves, this guy's putting guys out flatline, out cold.
Sleeping them. Devastating power, really dense human being, undefeated in Muay Thai, undefeated in combat sports, making his pro debut against somebody who we've seen put on some dynamic finishes and go the distance in a title fight in Hassan Graham, coming out with the big walkouts, the big show appearances. And
first ever to come out with a rapper, live performer to walk him out.
And Vega, he hasn't really been acclimated to the crowd yet, but man, these guys put on firework performances. They are known to put their opponents to sleep. So do not blink for both of these guys making their heavyweight professional debut. There's a reason it's as high as it is on the card. These guys are competitors, and they're both capable of finishing.
Why do you get 2 debuts this late in the card?
Doesn't matter.
This fight is going to be one you remember. So there you go. Hassan Graham taking on Jorge Vega.
So, and again, this is just a trend that's been following. We've had more heavyweight fights in the past year than my first 6 years of calling fights combined. So I love the trend. Heavyweights fighting in the marquee spot as we move on to our co-main event, which is another electrifying matchup between Sage Felipe and Marty Navis.
They kicked off our Table Titans season
before,
with the first couple fighters that were on. And I got to tell you, I'm a huge fan of Sage. I mean, obviously, we're all fans of Marty. We've known Marty. But, when it's the first time you have somebody fighting, you don't know what to expect. Sage Felipe just comes right out the gate. He's like, first round decapitation, no tree hugging, no takedowns. Like, I'm coming to take you ahead. And he's like, I respect Marty. And the reason he was excited about this fight against Marty is because he knows Marty's kind of a no-nonsense type fighter as well. Marty comes and he brings the fight, and that's what Sage wants. And that's what both these guys are getting. They both have mutual respect for one and the other.
And they both know how dangerous each other is, but neither one of them gives two fiddlers shits about it. They don't care. They don't care how dangerous one another is. They bring it. They come forward. They bring high octane action, and they come to finish. And like you said, Sage Felipe is saying no tree hugging, no
no
human blanketing or anything like that. Both of these guys come to finish, and they're just explosive strikers. Marty Navis, you can hear and feel the impact of when his strikes land. One of the more intimidating figures at the welterweight division. Decorated amateur career, taking that momentum through his professional career. Talking about someone who's on a fight skid. He's on a 2-fight
lose skid, but
losing
he lost to Billy Goff.
Billy Goff, who's in the UFC, and Adriano Capitolino, who is a seasoned veteran out of Fusion Excel. So he's had some really tough performances as of late, but he's more motivated than ever.
Damn, I was wrong. Patrick John Gilbride.
Yep, I guess
you were right. I thought Patrick Joseph.
Just as much of a guess. I had no idea either. So right. Joe, John, Jack, whatever it was. But anyways, Marty Navis, hungrier, motivated as he's ever been to get back into the win column, and Sage Felipe did not hesitate to bring his own high-octane energy in their interview. Lots of mutual respect between these guys, but this is going to be a high-amplitude war between two very skilled welterweights.
Absolutely. And, Sage has only known tough fights so far in his early pro career. He was 5-1 as an amateur. I think he won 1 or 2 titles, but then, he kind of, right out the gate was taking super tough fights as a pro. And when you take super tough fights, you win some, you lose some. And, he came up short in a couple close decisions. And arguably a lot of people thought he won. So he's one of those guys, prospects, that you might not look at and be like, what are you guys talking about? Why are you pumping this guy up? Watch any one of his fights and go back and watch his amateur fights. This kid is a dog. He's bringing it. He's bringing that same level of energy that Marty does. And I think Cage Titans fans are going to like this guy. Not to say you can still like Marty and like Sage. There's not saying anything wrong with that.
Well, we know that. No, I don't think that's going to happen with any of the Marty Navis.
Not the Marty Navis fans, but if you're
base
just a fan of Cage Titans, you're coming for the fight. You can be excited for both of these guys and be a fan of both and want to see them fight, because this is going to be a fan-friendly fight.
Oh, for sure. If you're a fight fan, you're going to want to. This is a fighter's fight to watch. And a great co-main event. I think it's going to be extremely crowd pleasing. Reason that it's high up on the fight card as it is, as we lead into this historic main event. Catchweight fight between Aaron Relentless Lacey and Zach Attack DiSabatino, the Cal Ripken Jr.
Zach Attack, did we go with Attack?
I don't know what his nickname's going to be that time. It could be Zach Panther, Zach Attack, Zach the Champ. Who knows what it's going to be? But
Marty by Head Crush.
But yeah, this main event, it's a second main event slot. Third main event.
He headlined Combat Night 3. And he headlined Cage Titans 50 Day.
Third main event.
Did he headline the fight when he fought Peter Barrett?
No, did not headline that fight. That was not a headline fight. If I forget who headlined that night. Man, my memory.
Sure as hell could have been.
Very well could have been. So, but he's been in some marquee situations even when he's not in a headline fight.
He's one of those guys that's right at that cusp. At 10-2, how this fight goes. Every fight from here on out is that fight that could push him to the next level.
Especially where he's at in his career and who he's beat already.
He's still relatively young as a fight years, 27, 28 years old.
Yep.
And now you look at his opponent in Aaron Lacey. He's very much in that same situation. We've talked about this before. He came to Cage Titans with only marquee fight names on the tip of his tongue. He wanted Peter Barrett. He wanted Zach DiSabatino. He wanted Johnny Cupcakes. He wanted the best of the best. He moved away from his wife and family to live at the gym, to finally put his last push in this fight career and push towards that next level. He was a stud up in Maine. He was well known up there, but he came down here because he wanted the tough fights. And he moved away from his family to live above a gym because he wanted to really be all in on this and see if he has what it takes to get to that next level. This is the type of fight that could catapult him to that next level. He sits at 7-3, but this is one of those fights that, like,
only people he's lost to: Vavka Clay, Damone Black Shoes in the UFC, and Johnny Cupcakes Campbell. So he's only losing to top tier talent. And like you said, he takes on all the tough competitors, sitting at 7-3. A win over Zach DiSabatino would be huge, propelling him to the next level. This is a huge stakes in this fight at the main event. When we say legend, this is a legit.
This is
headliner
a
fight.
When we talk to the UFC, I've emailed them a few times, and talked to them about Contender Series and things like that. They're like, oh, we want guys who have fought other contenders. Like, if you want to show them the Contender Series, he's like Shelby specifically said, like, we want guys who are beating contender level guys on the local level. This could arguably be a Contender Series type fight. So this is exactly the fights that he wants to see guys taking at the local level, so that when we put their name into the Contender Series or the UFC, they're like, oh yeah, he's fought a 7. Okay, yep, he's fought legit competition. He's not just steamrolling bums on the local
fought
level.
legit competition. Who's also fought legit competition. Both of these guys have fought a who's who, have taken their lumps in their career, have taken those tests and not passed those tests, and now they're ready to take those tests again. The test happens to be each other: Aaron Lacey versus Zach DiSabatino. It's a fighters fight in the headlining spot. Fighters fights galore, whether it's debut and amateur versus debut and amateur.
You talk about sleeper fights on the card like this. This could be a sleeper fight card.
Man,
if you ask me, like,
you ask me, I just circle the whole damn card every single time we put a new one together. It doesn't matter, and you never know who's going to steal the show. It could be anybody. We could go ahead and give you your top 3 picks right here, and it could be a totally different 3 that steal the show that night. Only one way to find out, and that's to get your tickets off your fighter and show up at
or get the stream online. Lawrence Hackett. I'll address the question because you asked, because Sugar Show just won. You watched the fights obviously this weekend. Any Cage Titans bantamweight that could beat the Sugar Show? I mean, I would not be mad throwing the party at him. I would definitely not be mad. It's funny you mentioned him. We were talking about Johnny Cupcakes. Me and Johnny were talking about the Sugar Sean O'Malley today, and he was like, dude, I would love to get my hands on him. I mean, Sean O'Malley with the length and the striking ability, shows some good wrestling defense. The kid's talented. There's no doubt about it.
I thought he won that fight too.
Yeah, I think he lost the first round.
Now I watched that one back. The first round again. You watch that first.
Here we go. We're gonna get into the UFC breakdown.
Watch the first round again. Piotr Jan doesn't do shit for the first 2-3 minutes in that first round.
Yeah.
It's all O'Malley, and what he does later with the high altitude takedown and a little bit of ground and pounding later did not win him the round. I'm sorry.
So what round do you think that Piotr Jan won?
Second round.
Second round.
I gave Piotr Jan the second round, and then the third round watching live, I thought O'Malley won it clearly, and then watching it back a second time, that third round was a lot closer than I thought, but I still gave it to O'Malley. But the first round I thought was way closer the first time I watched it, and then when I watched it the second time, I'm like, oh, Piotr Jan's, it's 2 minutes in, he hasn't landed a strike really, and O'Malley's piecing him up, and then the last 3 minutes are pretty competitive with the big takedown and whatnot.
So I don't know if we answered your question, but I would throw Cupcakes in there against him. I'd throw, the party in there again. I mean, what
Such a stacked division.
Could they beat him? I mean, anybody could beat anybody. That's why they play the game. That's why they fight. Anyways, we went over the card. We kept it to under an hour.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, we try to go quick. But, man, this is, like you said, like, we could circle the whole card. I think this is a card that, like, there's been fight cards that we've had where there was huge names. And it's like when Peter Barrett fights on a card, you circle him that. When Joe Giannetti, there's certain guys that are like, they bring that star power and that it factor, and you circle those fights because you're excited for those guys. I think this card from top to bottom is just bringing the action. There's not one that you're like, this could be a dud of a fight. Every fight is bringing it, and I think this is one of those fight cards, like when you look at like a fight night, and you're like, oh man, this card doesn't have any big names, it doesn't have any champions or anything like that, and then boom, it's the most amazing fight card you see. And there's knockouts, there's finishes, crazy stuff going on. So I mean, at this point, I think that this could be, though we have a huge main event with two high level guys fighting each other. When you talk about the rest of the card, it's just like great fight. Could be amazing. So you guys are in for it. All right, Lawrence is asking us. I feel like we're on Lawrence's podcast, and he's asking us a question. Another good question. If you had to say the biggest reason Joe Giannetti is in the UFC, what would it be? I think that he's probably right at the cusp. Maybe one or two more big fights could definitely get him into the UFC. Obviously,
I think if he stays busy and pieces together a streak, he'll be on the Contender Series next season.
Yeah, and I think that, at what's he, 12 or 13 and 3 or 4? I mean, that kid made it to the UFC at 22 years old. Here we are a few years later. He's still super young, and he's still finding his rhythm. You've seen him in his last few fights. He was a guy that got taken down and would work submissions off his back and was just a submission-heavy fighter, and that's how he won fights. And then now look at him, and he's controlling the pace, the tempo, and he's just standing and striking and piecing guys up. So, he's really coming into his own. One or two more marquee matchups at the local level that he's able to pull out. He could definitely see himself going to the UFC with some more victories. But yeah, man, thank you, Lawrence Hackett, for tuning in. I don't know who you are, but it's great to see you. And we'll keep grinding, and you guys keep watching. We appreciate it. So, all right, Andy.
Listen,
We always go. I can't always pick, but I got to go to you. What's the one fight that you want to tell people, like, this is a fight? What's your circle fight?
let's go with Roscoe versus Barrett, the inaugural female Muay Thai title. I think you got to put a certain circle on that because there's so many intangibles. It's in a marquee spot, headlining the undercard where everybody's in the building. The building's at its loudest. It's going to be an action-packed fight. Both ladies are savages. Both ladies undefeated in Muay Thai. Both ladies want the gold, and ladies always bring it and steal the show. So that's going to be my pick number A. I know A is a letter, not a number, but forgive me, I'm Polish. But pick number A for the fight of the night right there. And then if there's another one, I'm going to comb through real quick just to figure out what fight I think everybody should be really excited for. Let's go with the heavyweights making their debuts against each other.
Son Graham fight. Rob Pico just said exactly you.
Yeah, there we go. Rob Pico. Great minds think alike, so that's just how it's going to be.
And plug for the Cage Titans mayor. We have the super fan and Mikey DeSilva. We'll call Rob Pico the fan experience mayor. Because you'll see him in the beer line buying beers for random ass people that he doesn't know.
You'll catch him at second.
And you'll catch him at second win.
At the pre-fight ritual. Yes. One of the many pre-fight rituals.
And he'll be having 2 floor seats that he'll be raffling off all week.
Jesus.
So the Cage Titans brand new IPA, Cage Titans Fight Night IPA, comes out on Wednesday. And for anybody who goes to Second Win and purchases Cage Titans Fight Night IPA between Wednesday and Saturday, they'll be entered into a raffle for 2 free floor tickets that will be given away by Rob Pico at 3:30 on Saturday at Second Wind Brewery. So make sure you go down and see those guys. Why don't we bring in, I think he's drinking, so I'm going to catch him off. We got 5 minutes to kill. We want to keep the show out. Producer Joe, I see you there hanging out watching. Why don't we bring you in, and why don't you give us your pick of the night for Fight of the Night?
Fight of the night, I'm going to go with
Can't hear him.
I've been thinking about it a little bit, and I think because it's Valdina's debut, I think I'm going to go with Fuller versus Valdina. I think that Fuller is going to give Valdina a run for his money. Valdina's obviously got the striking. He's obviously, got a great IQ in this game. So if we're talking about sleeper fights, I think Fuller is probably the guy that you don't want to sleep on because he can knock somebody out in 10 seconds. It may take him half the round if he can last that long. So hopefully Fuller versus Valdina is a good fight, and that's my pick. Cheers.
All right, Joe cheers us.
Cheers.
We're delayed, so I heard nothing that Joe said until I heard this. But you guys heard what he said. We're at a bar. It's kind of hard to hear in here. But hopefully you like Joe's picks. And I think I kind of put him on my phone and up to my ear. I think he said Valdina versus Fuller.
There we go.
I think he said
that
Valdina
fight too,
versus Fuller.
but yeah, with that, like you said, we're gonna keep it under an hour for this show. This is
We got 3
remarkable
minutes.
not even 2 minutes.
All right, so let me do the wrap up for you.
Listen,
we
we
have-
got a crazy week
we got
this week.
Thursday, the comedy night here at Main Street Sports. Friday at Friday,
Memorial Hall.
the Memorial Hall for the
Weigh-ins.
weigh-ins, where it starts at 11. We'll be streaming live at 1 o'clock, so you can get to see all the fighters face off one more time. Wink, wink. If anybody wants to help set up, we'll be setting up on Friday, doing the lighting rig and some cage stuff. Hands are welcome if you want to come down and see us. And then Saturday.
We don't leave the building. Once I'm there for weigh-ins, I'm usually there till I get tacos at like 11 p.m.
So Saturday, we have the Second Wind pre-party over at Second Wind Brewery, hosted by the mayor, Rob Pico, who will be giving away 2 floor seats for the fights. And if you already have tickets, we'll do upgrades or something. We'll make sure you win something if you happen to win the tickets. Well, if you bought balcony, we'll upgrade you to the floor. We'll do something for you. Maybe first couple rounds of beers, whatever. We'll figure it out. Saturday night, doors open at 4:35. First fight at 6. And then right after the fights, we will be at Tavern on the Wharf. Another after party. We'll be celebrating with live music and a costume contest at Tavern. Then just in general, we're doing this week, be on the lookout for the Kill Combat Performance.
Let's do that.
Yep, meant to do that. Also, be on the lookout for the brand new Wicked Muay Thai Cage Titans shorts. There's a new design for this show. So we've had the same design for the last year of our relationship with Wicked Muay Thai. They have a whole new design that's coming out that's debuting this event. We're going to be debuting the look this week on our Instagram and all our social medias. And we're going to be doing a giveaway where you, as a fan, can win your own free pair of the new version of the Cage Titans pants shorts. What else do I got? We got the costume contest on fight night, which we'll be going around. We'll have people going around through the crowd picking out their favorite costumes. We'll bring you in the cage during intermission, and we'll let the crowd decide who the winner is. Prizes to be determined. What else do we got? We're going to be giving away a VIP experience, so definitely follow our social media, and we'll be doing some giveaway experience with the VIP. We're coming up with our Second Wind Coop's Corner stage box, and we're going to be doing a giveaway with that as well.
Shit.
So that will come with, a VIP server, choice of beverages, food, all kinds of stuff. So we're going to be doing that. Early entry into Cage Titans, no line, all kinds of crazy things. So we're putting that together. Be on the lookout for that. Tyler Pimentel's watching now. If you want to help out setting up the cage or the lights Friday or Saturday morning, my man Tyler Pimentel is the head of setup, amongst other things, but hit him up.
It's basically the stepdad of Cage Titans.
So, yeah, we're there all night on Friday, and we get there at 8:30 in the morning on Saturday setting up the cage. Just show up. Don't text us, say, hey, do you want me to come by? Just show up. It's pretty easy. There's always something to do. But besides that, man, that's it.
Hey, it's fight week.
It is fight week.
It's fight week. I'm stoked.
And it looks like Bailey Zappi's in the game. They got rid of Mac Jones. So there we go. Thank you guys for always tuning in. Follow us on all our social media across the board. And I got nothing else. Thank you, Joe. Cheers, Joe.
It's fight week. It's Halloween week. It's comedy week. It's going to be a good time. We'll see you all in Plymouth this week with all the festivities. And listen, Saturday night, it's going to be a banger. Cage Titans 56. Cheers as always. And thank you as always for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week at the wrap-up show. And we'll see you Saturday at the actual fight night. Why we do all this for. So,
Peace. Drop the
Peace.
video.